हरि ओम। ओम सहना ववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पातञ्जलि प्राञ्जलिना नतोऽस्मि। हरि ओम। Many times we try to look towards our life. Every now and then we think about our life, and generally we try to see the graph of our life from beginning. Invariably we feel that I came from a poor family or a poorer family. I was in a village. I studied in a very difficult circumstances. During those days, we did not have even the bicycle or scooter or whatever. Forget about the car. And then I shifted. I studied. Then I came to Gulf. I came to Dubai. Then I made money. And look at where I am now. I have got all the amenities with me. This thought comes to the mind as progress of mind in the family as well as in the community, and we feel we are prosperous. Same person who thinks on those lines also thinks that, you know what, older days were better. We used to have only one scooter, and my father used to take me around the town on the scooter. It was such a fun. Now I don't get that fun even in the BMW or the Mercedes that I'm driving. See, it is the same person talking both the things. On one hand, he feels he has progressed a lot. He has become prosperous. On the other hand, he feels that the days when inadequacy was there, they were the better days. We used to all play around, whatever little, even father used to barely give sometimes 5 or 10 paisa, and it was such a fun for us. That small ice cream that we had, the lollipop or whatever, was such a nice thing. There were no Cadbury's and no chocolates in abundance during those days. It was such a fun. That Diwali or that Vishu or whatever we celebrated, it used to be such a fun. All our relatives used to come together. It was really enjoyable. So what has happened? Have you gone much towards the happiness, or have you gone away from happiness, or are you not decided as yet? All this ridiculous expression of ours about our own life is essentially because we do not know what happiness is all about. Our very definition of sukham and dukkham is erroneous. We feel we are trying to achieve more and more sukham, but factually it doesn't seem to lead to that anytime, anywhere. So what is wrong? The wrong is the perception with which we are trying to achieve the sukham is based on a wrong assumption. And to explain this wrong assumption, in Sadhana Pad, Patanjali Maharaj takes this subject of so-called sukham head on. The Shastras are a witness to the statement that it is better to have dukkham in life than sukham. It may appear very surprising statement to us. Why would you get dukkham when you are getting sukham? Why sukham is far more detrimental than dukkham? The reason for that is explained in the sutras that are under the study. By now we know very clearly that why I am born and why I am having these bhogas in my life. Sati mule tad vipako jati ayuhu karmaha. Because of my karmas, karmashaya, I have a birth, I have certain bhogas, and I will die after some time. This we understood from Patanjali Maharaj. Now the question is, whatever little this kalam is there, because it's a fraction of kalam, we call it 70, 80 years and 90 years and Jivite, Shraddha, Shatam, all that is very nice to hear too, but the whole thing is delimited to a fraction of time. In that fraction of time, te lhad paritapaha papa punya phala. That is the next sutra. What it means? In the given period of your life, you shall be given lhad or paritapa. Lhad means feeling better. Mind well, Patanjali Maharaj uses the word lhad, not anandam. And paritapa, not dukkham. Lhad means feeling better. It's not betterment, feeling better. A sadistic man feels better by pinching somebody and penetrating or poking some instrument into somebody's body. He feels happy. That is called sadistic pleasure. Is it not a pleasure? So is that the definition of sukham? No. Why? He feels pleasure. It is not pleasure. Similarly, when Friday morning we go to a restaurant to eat my favorite dish, I feel the pleasure. It is not the pleasure. Feeling the pleasure. Lhad. Paritap. Pari, all around. Tap, pain. So when you are in a situation where you get troubled by all sides, it is called paritapa, which we call dukkham. Why word lhad and paritapa is used is basically because they are there. Whether to receive or not is up to you. I am sitting in a place where I am feeling too cold. So it is a situation of paritapa. All around there is something which can cause a trouble. Whether the trouble will be caused or not depends on how I react to it. Mahatma Gandhi barely used any blanket all his life. He used to feel very cold and many times he used to shiver. During that situation, the situation was of paritapa, but he did not receive it in his mind. So people who saw it, they felt very sorry. Oh my God, Bapu is having such a cold. But Bapu himself was sleeping. He was shivering, but he was sleeping. How both things can happen? because paritapa was there, but response was not there. Now comes the very fundamental question that understood the life is full of sukham and dukkham, lahad and paritapa. So avoid the paritapa and have the lahad. That should be the aim of the life. Avoid dukkham and have sukham. Eat sumptuously, drink sumptuously, have all happy feelings, call friends, keep making parties, one party after the other party, a retro party, modern party. Then there is a birthday, calls everybody, make a cake, call this friend, let them come for the food, let's go out for a movie, let's go out for a ride, pack up your bags, let's go for vacation. No, there is a staycation. Okay, let's see the serial. All right, let's switch on a new movie. Let's download the Netflix. Let's watch the mobile. Let's see the mobile app. Let's go for a comedy show. What are we doing? We are trying to seek happiness. Now we are constantly trying sukham, and even if you are getting it, let's go out for a ride because you have a car, you can go for a ride. What's wrong in it? Oh, it's such a fine thing. Cool breeze coming and I'm driving. What is wrong in it? Then why is it that the yogi says sukham is more vulnerable than dukkha? How can this sukham be so bad? Lahad can be bad. Why? Such a nice thing. When I eat Shrikhandam, I feel so nice. It's so beautiful, so nice. Amul Shrikhand, very tasty. Why? What is wrong in it? The yogi says, Dukkham sarva vivekinaha. Parinama tapa sanskara dukkhehi guna virodhacha dukkham sarva eva vivekinaha. For the viveki, there is only dukkha in the world. It's a very, very astonishing statement made also by Gautam Buddha. World is full of sorrow. We feel how bad, they don't even know. There are so many nice things in this world. How can you say it is full of sorrow? I am married, I have children, I eat nice food, I have a nice car. What is bad in life? That's what you're supposed to do in life, right? Make all the amenities possible, which that is what we have been doing since childhood. We have bettered our condition. That is what we say. So what is wrong in it? And that is when the explanation comes. What is wrong in sukham? Wrong in dukkham, everybody understands. Why? It is painful. I've got a very painful swelling on my cheek. I have to treat this because the pain is unbearable. I cannot tolerate the pain. Everybody understands it. Yes, yes. There is dukkham, you should get rid of it. Fine. But dukkham is a one-time incidence. When you make arrangement to take care of the dukkham is taken care of. When the stomach ache is there, I take a medication, the stomach ache is over, dukkham is over. So there is no trail left by dukkham. After the dukkham, we don't say that, oh, can I have the stomach pain again? We don't say that. But in sukham, we have multifarious problems. Now we will understand why Sharada Mata used to always say that if you are afflicted by situation, that means you have been blessed by the God. She used to say, I'm more worried about the prosperity rather than the adversity. You think about yourself. The best in you has come out only in adversity. In our younger days, My parents were fighting with each other. I never had a good childhood. My mother was nice, but my father used to be angry with me. Our situation was very bad. We had no money, and yet I wanted to study. I went to engineering. In adversity, we did the best. And now the problem is, look at us, our children. They don't study. They are overweight. They are pampered. In our days, we used to touch the feet of our father. Nowadays, they don't even look at us. What is happening is the prosperity is bringing more problems than the adversity. Why it is so has been explained in Parinama Tapa Samskara Dukkaihi Guna Vrutya Virodacha. What is Parinama Dukkha? We saw last time. Parinama Dukkha means what we receive while taking the bhoga is called upashanti of Indriya. There is a desire to eat something. And when I really get that, I somehow reach that Shravana Bhavan and I order my favorite dish and it comes to me and I take the first bite in my mouth, and that is the time now my mind is no more hankering for that thing. So there is a temporary lull, temporary stop in my incessant desire to have that thing. This temporary stop is called as upashanti of the Indriya. In Maithuna, in the sexual part, there is enormous amount of eager. But after the act of sex is over, there is nothing left. Nobody wants to be in that state anymore. Why? Indriya upashanti. Temporarily, the Indriya gets satisfied. Now what happens? After some time, the Indriya remembers that that thing gave me satisfaction. I want it again. This is called anupashanti of Indriya. So for upashanti we go. What we think? The child is asking chocolate, give it, no, forget it. He is unnecessarily crying so much, give a little bit of it. And the mother says, no, you should not give it. But the father says, give it, no. One time, what happens is by giving it, he becomes calm. Now he knows that chocolate is what makes me happy. So next day, again he says, Ma, I want a chocolate. And starts crying again. What happened? In the first instant, because he got the chocolate, the taste was satisfied. There was upashanti, but that upashanti is always time limited. It is followed by anupashanti of Indriya. So again, there is a desire. This is called parinama dukkha. We must have tasted drink sometime or other in life. How did the drinking start? The friends took us to some company and they said that, please here, have just little bit. It's good. It's not that bad. Just have little bit, have little bit. And then we drink and say, oh, it's such a bad thing. I will not have it again. But that one sip becomes a bottle thereafter. How does that happen? A temporary upashanti becomes anupashanti. The Indriya keeps again and again asking for the same. That is called waiting for, wanting for sukham. The Indriya is waiting for that sukham again. And how many sukhams, avenues we have created? Multiple. Overall feeling, to have a car, to have this, to have a beautiful wife. What is a beautiful wife? Why beautiful, sir? You want a wife or you want a beautiful wife? Beautiful because I have attached a beauty with my Indriya upashanti. Dekhne mein achhi honi chahiye. She should be very nice to look at. Nice to look at, nayana. Chakshu, Indriya upashanti you wanted. So you wanted a very nicely looking wife. What came in the hand is a completely different thing. Even though she is beautiful, then you start disliking her. Why? She's beautiful, but so much botheration I have. Why? You don't want to listen to what she says. So what happened? For the Karnendriya, she is not giving the Upashanti. Before marriage, for the Chakshu, she gave the Upashanti. And then, because she no more giving Upashanti, you start looking for something different. So Pancha Indriyas having multiple Vishayas, they're constantly looking and hankering for Upashanti. On two fronts, we slip in our life. One, what we have already done and enjoyed, we want to enjoy it again. And because after enjoying it, you lose the interest in that enjoyment till a certain period. In that period, you want another subject to fill the gap. So like a bee going from flower to flower for different nectars, we go from Vishaya to Vishaya for different Vishaya Upabhoga Anandam through the Indriyas. This is the reason why Sukham is a detrimental thing, because it addicts. Dukkham doesn't addict. Sukham addicts. Money addicts. That is why moment you are said, what if you do this, I can give you this much amount. Lakshmi, immediately what is the feeling that you get inside? Addicted to Lakshmi, addicted to more and more money. A corrupt officer, I know few of them. Being in that service for some time, I know of certain officers who had made crores of rupees during my time. I'm talking of the 80s. And in spite of having crores of rupees, again somebody giving 500 also they used to keep. I used to ask them very, very openly a question, that you have so much money you have, how come another 500 you are asking? I used to say that, no, doctor, you go into too many details. That's how life is. Forget about it, etc., etc. He could not explain it. Now, because of Patanjali Maharaj, we know the addiction developed for a particular sukham is because of parinama dukkha. And this is then because then he wants a right posting. He wants so that people come and pay him money. So he keeps organizing for it. He uses political influence. What happens is, in order to perpetuate sukham, you land up in a situation which is giving you dukkham. Why? You brought a Ferrari home. Very nice. Fine. Your one desire is fulfilled. Now, a Ferrari requires a special servicing. It has to have a special oil. It can't be handled by everybody. It has to be kept in a proper garage. There should be no scratch on my Safari. What happened? In order to achieve, there is a dukkham. In order to maintain, there is a dukkham. Now, to achieve dukkham that you take is called parinama dukkham. To maintain is called tapa dukkham. Why tapa dukkham? Why tapa dukkham? Tapa dukkham is because if the share market goes down, I'll be able to buy the shares at a lower price. And then I will sell it when it goes up. This is what everybody does in share market. Buy low, sell high. That is the principle. Now the question is, when it goes down, there will be somebody losing money, then only I can buy it. In me, that means I desire pain for somebody so that I get sukham. This is called tapa dukkham. Anupahatya na upabhogaha sambhavati. What it means is, unless you do hatya, violence, no, your sukham cannot be obtained, because your sukham is somebody's dukkham. Think about it in your life. Win-win situation is very rarely there. Somebody has to lose something for me to gain, because it's a fluid cosmos. Everybody has to gain and everybody has to give each other. That is harmony. Rarely it happens. Somebody has to lose. Some man loses the villa because he has no money to pay the installments, and then he decides to sell it. Then the other person buys it. So somebody's dukkham becomes somebody's sukham. This leads to dvesha, moha, and lobha. This is tapa dukkham, parinama dukkham, tapa dukkham, and the worst of all is samskara dukkham. Think about one thing. We got all married before marriage, premarital sexual relationship, after marriage, whatever. So you got introduced to the sex as one activity. And then what happens? You become kind of interested or addicted to it. Now imagine a Bala Brahmachari, Brahma, Naishtika Brahmacharya. He has never seen what sex is, never experienced anything. What will be his situation? He might feel some attraction for a woman because of the age, in certain age period. He might, and he will have to deal with it. But that problem is a smaller problem than a person having sexual experience and then dealing with not to have sexual thoughts in the mind. It's a common observation for all of us. Why this happened? Because there was a samskara that happened earlier. There is no American addict to Shrikhandam. Why? He has never eaten it. So there is no samskara. Absence of samskara completely annihilates any kind of dukkham arising from that samskara. I'm a vegetarian person. So beef doesn't give any samskara to me because I have not seen it, I have not tested it, I don't know what is it. In fact, I have some amount of hatred towards it, which should not be there, but it is there. I don't know how they eat it. I have never eaten it. So there is no samskara. A non-vegetarian food, somebody who said, chicken and tandoori, whatever they call it, but for me, it doesn't make any sense because I don't know what it is. I don't have a samskara on mind. So absence of samskara, there is no dukkham. But although I am although I'm a vegetarian, in my own field of vegetarianism, I have samskara of vegetarian things. And what are those samskar? Halwa, Shrikhandam, Kaju Katli, Jalebi, Rasagulla, because I have a sweet tooth. Now, samskara dukkham, and I have got diabetes. Now the problem is, I remember constantly, I have got sugar, otherwise, what were those days I used to eat so much of jalebi, so much of what, sir, why are you remembering it? Samskara dukkham. See, eating jalebi once, which I cannot eat now, and I feel like eating it again and again, this is called samskara dukkham, which is essentially because of vasana. More repetitive the samskar, more stronger the vasana, more stronger the packed force. Amongst the human sukhas, the highest sukha is Maithun Sukha. Manushya Sukha, the highest of Manushya Sukha is Maithun Sukha. That is why the vasana of Maithuna Sukha is the strongest in the human body, in the male body. Howsoever they try to control themselves, kama toranam na bhayam na lajjam. That is the Subhashita. Why? Kamatura, passion, burning desire. Whichever samskar is strong in you, you will have a burning desire. And mind well, not samskar of this birth, multiple births. There are people who have a very strong desire of studying again and again, many multiple degrees. They want to study this, they want to. Why? Vasana of having more knowledge, jnana, bubukshita, jnana bubukshita. I see it in myself. Anything is there, I feel like reading, whether it is medicine, whether it is this, why I should have the knowledge. If I ask a question to myself, why you want to have the knowledge? I don't know, but I want to have the knowledge. Jnana, whatever. Why? Jnana bubhukshita. It is intellectual knowledge. It is not Atma Jnana, but intellectual knowledge. Why? So people say that, oh, you are so great, you study so much. It's not that. It is my vasana is propelling me. That is also bad. I may make good use of that study of Bhagavad Gita for my own life by implementing it is a different story. But like a blotting paper, blotting every drop of knowledge is also the result of vasana. So, parinama dukkha, tapa dukkha, and sanskara dukkham. Now comes the question. There is one more aspect associated with sukham, because of which sarva vivekinaha call sukham as dukkham. What is that another aspect? Another aspect is guna vrittya virodhacha. What is the guna vrittya virodhacha problem? What is that concept of what is called as guna vrittya virodhacha? What is it? And that is what we need to now study. In guna vrittya virodhacha, we need to understand certain things very, very clearly. First of all, why a jnani purush or a viveki purush only understands sukham as dukkham? We don't understand sukham as dukkham. Having possessions, a big villa, a good car, we don't see in dukkham in that. We see sukham in that. We say, yeah, that's good, very nice, I am feeling so happy. While same thing, if you say to a person of Gurudeva's caliber, you would say that, oh, keep it aside. Oh, that villa doesn't matter. Whether a hut meant or a plane, Gurudev used to find a plane and he walked all the way. Also, both time he was normal. He was okay with both. Why? Why Viveki people see Sukham also as Dukkham, and why not common people? And the Bhashyakar says, you have a small fiber of cotton. It is called Urna Tantu in Sanskrit. A small floating fiber of cotton. Suppose it falls on my body. I will not even come to know. But if it falls on my eye, I will immediately come to know. So a very small, light, thin fiber of cotton, Urna Tantu, on the eye makes terrible amount of pain. We immediately try to remove it. But if it falls on the body, it doesn't. Similarly, Akshipatra Kalpa means Chakshu, eye. Akshi, eye. Patra Kalpa, Patra is like a pot of eye, means eye, on which if Urna Tantu falls, immediately you come to know. That is why eye is sensitive to the cotton fiber, body is not. Viveki is sensitive to this. That is why even in Sukham he sees Dukkham. There was a Marwadi called Lakshmi Chand in Calcutta. He was a devotee of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. In those days, in 1886, when the salary of a high school teacher was barely 6 rupees, this Lakshmi Chanda Marwadi came with 10,000 rupees and wanted to give it to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And he pleaded and pleaded. Ultimately, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa folded his hand, touched his head to the ground and said, please no. First of all, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa never touched coins. His body used to get contorted at a touch of a coin. Why? Akshipatra Kalpa. Knowing the sad effects of Sukham, Viveki always avoids Sukham. Now, do we understand why Tapovan Maharaj, when Gurudeva came, he put simply certain conditions? One, get up at the Brahma Muhurta, get into the chilly waters of Ganga and do the Snanam. I shall be telling you only one explanation, only once, and there will be no repetition, and you should remember it. Third thing is, I am not here to take care of your food because I don't know whether my food will come or not. So you may be hungry, you may not be hungry. Gurudev has himself described what kind of food was there. Why? And mind well, Nepal Maharaja, Tehri Maharaja, both were devotees of Tapovan Maharaj, so they could have given them a palatial treatment with everyday delicious food. Why? Why they did not accept it? Sukham has a bad tendency of giving three types of dukkhas. Dukkham is still better. I don't have a bhiksha, fine. I will wait and bhiksha will come. Enough. There is a story of a monk who was a naked monk having only kaupina, only langot, and doing nice meditation. One fine morning, his shishya found that his kaupina has been eaten by a rat. So he came to the Guru, said, Guru Maharaj, kaupina has been eaten by the rat. So what do we do now? To buy new, we don't have money. And there are hardly 2 kaupins or 3 kaupins. One is already gone. What can we do? Gurudev said, I don't know what to do. Shishya said, sir, I will find the solution. He found a solution after discussing with the villagers that yes, just keep a cat. He will take care of the rat and your kaupin will be safe. All problems sorted out. A cat came into the monk's place. Yes, it did eat the rat. But it was important to have the cat for some more time because if another rat comes then, so the cat remained there. Now cat needed milk. So what to do about the milk? So he started bringing milk from the village. Every time he used to go beg for the alms and also begged for a little bit of milk. Sometimes the milk was not there. Then the Shishya said to Guru, Swamiji, every time the milk is not available, what if we just keep a cow here so that we get milk also, the cat also gets fed, we might also get milk. What is wrong in it? He said, yeah, not a bad idea. Now the cow came. The cow started giving nice milk both to the cat and to them, and also it was all nice. So come. Now for the cow you require a grass. So he has to go again and somehow create some cash to buy the grass. To create the cash, then they had to do only one thing, to deliver some lectures or pravachanas at some cost. So Swamiji started delivering lectures at some cost. That money was taken to buy the grass, and then the cow had the grass, then there was a milk, then the cat ate it, then it was nice. Now came the question that in the rainy season, there's no grass. So you have to store it up in the hot season. By the month of Grishma, you have to store the grass. So you require a little more money. So Swamiji started as charging something more. After charging more, how much is required, how much you would need, all that required an accounting. So to write the account, you require a notebook. And also you require a person who has a knowledge of accounts. And so on and so forth. The story ends, keeps on going forward. What happened in the whole thing is one Sukham, Kaupina, led to this. That is why a Viveki is very alert about Sukham. We should be alert in our life about the Sukham. Doesn't mean you abandon the Sukham. It is coming to you because of your Prarabdha Karma. But that need not stop you from becoming sannyasta inside. When the car comes to me, when I got my BMW or Mercedes, if I think that one day it is going to go, will it give you pain? It will not. But it should be from the heart, you should say that. My children, one day they are going to fly and forget you. We don't face this truth. And that is why the dukkham comes. The same boy for whose birthday so much of money I spent, today he's not even talking in good terms with me. Why this happened? Because you thought this is sukham. So that is why this tendency of having sukham, creation of vasanas, if at all you fall prey to some of the indriyas and vishayas, don't let it repeat again and again so that it becomes a vasana. So vasana kshinata, tanu karana, we had seen it earlier. Tanu shaithilya, you loosen the vasanas. Loosen the vasanas by standing firm against the force of vasana. That is sadhana. And it requires enormous amount of powerful composure to fight the vasanas. That is called tapam. How do you deal with these vasanas? Vasanas are originating in mind. You are not the mind. So every time you have to tell the mind to mind itself. And how do you do that? Only when you are on the top of the situation. To be at the top of the situation, you should be very calm and composed. See, when you become angry, within no time, the mind takes over you. That's a very bad point. The dangerous point is mind overtaking you. You should be taking mind under you. Then you can guide the mind what to do. So when the mind says, it's a Friday morning, let's go to the restaurant, immediately you should say, bloody hell, you listen to what I say. It's Friday morning, you have time, sit for the satsang. Before the satsang, read properly. No, but let me have my breakfast and everything, because 7 o'clock the Gita class starts, till the time I can have a little bit of, I said, stop. Tell the mind, today is Friday, auspicious day of studying Bhagavad Gita. I shall not touch and put anything in my mouth till my satsang class is over. What happened? The poor mind is now subjugated by me. I am the controller of the mind, not that the mind is controlling me. And then what happened? You resisted one vasana pressure of indriya. Then mind says that this man seems to be a tough man. He's not listening to me. But again, it pops out after some time. Again, you tell him. Then what happens? The grooving of vasanas starts coming down. And new vasanas originate. What new vasanas? Not to do, not to do, not to do. That is also vasana. But it is a good vasana to kill the bad vasana. I want to study Bhagavad Gita. I want to study Bhagavad Gita. It is a vasana, but a good vasana. Why? There are no ramifications in that. There is a vasana of helping people. It is a vasana. You don't help people. God helps people through you. That's a different thing. But we feel like it doesn't matter. Instead of beating people, helping people is of course a good vasana. So first you switch the vasanas from tamogunatmak to sattvagunatmak in your personal life as well as otherwise. How do we do that and why should we do that? Guna vrittya virodhacha. See, the trigunas, Patanjali Maharaj now is going into Sankhya Tattva Jnana and its heart, core, that is gunas. Triguna is a gift of Sankhya philosophy. Trigunas are paraspar aviruddha, sattva, raja, tama. These are distinctly separate. They are three separate gunas. In fact, guna means rope. In Sankhya Tattva Jnana, the word guna has been used, not we think quality. It's not quality. It's like a rope. 3 threads of 3 bound together into a rope. 1 rope, 2 rope, 3 rope and bound to each other. That is 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajatama. What are the qualities of Sattva, Rajatama? Patanjali Maharaj said Sattva, Rajatama are Prakhya Pravrutti Sthiti Rupaha. Prakhya Jnana. Sattva is Jnana Swarupa, Prakasha Swarupa. Rajoguna Pravrutti Swarupa, Kriya Swarupa. And Tamoguna Sthiti Rupa, station, stationary, inertia. Prakhya, Pravrutti, Sthiti Rupaha, Sattva Rajatama. So that means there are compartments. Normally, they are distinct to each other, but in our Vyavahar, they help each other. They are called Paraspara Anugrahi. This is a subtle aspect of guna that we are studying, so please pay attention. Sattva, Rajatama are compartmentalized, fine. But never ever you find Sattva as completely separate. So you don't have pure Sattva experience, pure Rajaguna experience, pure. It is never pure. Why? They are Paraspara Anugrahi, complementing each other. That is why nothing is Sukhamaya, Dukkhamaya, or Mohatmaka. Sukha, Dukkha, Moha, Sattva, Rajatam. Right? Nothing is purely Sukhatmaka. Because a purely Sukhatmaka should not give any kind of pain. Now, suppose you have a very sensitive teeth and you eat ice cream. What experience do we get? Very nice ice cream, but my teeth are giving problem. What happened? How come Sukham and Dukkham coexisted? Sattva and Raja coexisted in that experience. How come? It is always like that. Because Sattva, Rajatakama are Paraspar Anugrahi in Samanya Anubhava. Samanya Anubhava. So there are two aspects of guna that we should remember. One is there is nothing pure Sukhatmak, pure Dukkhatmak, or pure Mohatmak. In other words, there is no pure Sattva, pure Raja, pure Tama. It is always mixed or complementing each other. Paraspara Anugrahi. Second is Chitta Kshipra Parinami. What is Kshipra Parinami? Guna Vruttyaha, Guna Vruttyacha Chanchalam. What is Chanchala? What is right now dominated by Sattva and complemented by Raja and Tama will not remain always like that. It will immediately change into something else. So there are two aspects. I am having Sukham. I am eating ice cream. So it is continuing for whole 24 hours. Doesn't happen. You eat there, before you pay the bill, the whole Sukham is gone. Why? It became a smriti. Oh, it was nice. I had a ice cream in the morning. Sir, but you had a Sukhatmaka Anubhava. Why it is not lasting? That is because Chitta Kshipra Parinami. Gunas, the impact that they create lasts for a very transient time. So it keeps on changing. A constant changeability is the sign of Gunas interplay. Gunishu Vartanti. Guna Gunishu Vartanti is this. So we have two things to remember. One, no guna in pure form is available in a normal experience, which is called Samanya experience. There is another experience called Vishesha Anubhav or Atishaya experience. In that, you may get what is called as purest possible guna experience. In Samadhi, that happens. In Samadhi, the Sattva guna is very much in quantity, very, very little Rajoguna, and almost nil Tamoguna. So that is the time that you see Atishaya or Vishesha Guna Prabhava. That is why people who are in Samadhi, they don't even look at any other thing. They want to go in Samadhi again and again. After Ramakrishna's death, all the 14 monks, young boys, they came at a Varahanagar Matham where they were staying. Poverty was very bad. There was nothing to eat. Sometimes whole days to go without food. But what were the monks doing? All Narendra, that is Vivekananda, Abhedananda, Shashi Maharaj, Tarak Maharaj, that is Shivananda Maharaj, Akhadnand, all of them, what they used to do, they were all 20, 30-year-old. So what they used to do, take the early morning dip at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in Ganga and sit for meditation and meditate till 4 o'clock in the evening. 12 hours meditation. What was so great happening in their mind? How they were not interested in their food also. Because sattva guna pradurbhava, sattva guna adhikya, that is called atishaya bhavana. For us, samanya bhavana is there. So gunas play samanya bhava in our life. In samanya bhava, they are intermixed with each other. And that is the reason why one thing that gives sukham to somebody does not give sukham to other. There is a person who is eating Srikhandam and he says, wow, what a thing it is. The other person, I don't like it. I am actually a fan of jalebi. Why, sir? If it is Sukhamaya, then everybody should be getting Sukham from it. It is not so because of intermix of complementing of different gunas. So that means Buddhi Tattva is majoritarily made by what? Sattva guna. Buddhi Tattva is by pure Sattva guna. But Buddhi has Ashtarupa and Trayovritti. Try understanding what I'm trying to say is why Trigunas are also one of the reason why Sukham becomes Dukkham is what we are studying. Guna Vritta Virodhacha. When we are enjoying any bhoga, the bhoga is nothing else but the interplay of three gunas. The three gunas are always in a mixed form. Paraspara anugrahi. Except in Atishaya or Vishesha Anubhav, which is Samadhi Anubhav. Question comes to the mind, if the gunas are mixed with each other, then how do you get only Sukham from something? Let us say Shrikhanda. As an object, if it is mixed with Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, then Rajoguna is supposed to carry Dukkham. Sattva is supposed to carry Sukham. And Tamoguna carries Moha, right? So when I eat Srikhandam, I don't get Dukkham, I get only Sukham. And you say there are interplay of forces, then why you are getting only Sukham? That is because in every Samanya Anubhava, one of the guna predominates, others are present in Gauni form. Gauna means secondary, small. So dominant is called Pradhana, that which is not dominant is called Gauna. So in every bhoga, there is a dominant guna. If the dominant guna is Sattva, we call that thing as very nice thing. If the Rajoguna is dominant, Pradhana, and Sattva guna is Gaun, we call it Dukkha. It's not a good thing. It's not a nice thing. And if Dukkham is also not there, Sukham is also not there, only Mohatmakata is there. Meaning what? You are extremely sleepy. You are absolutely closing your eyes. What is happening? Sukham is also not there. Because is this Sukham? You say, I don't know. Are you having some problem, sir? He said, no. I've got only sleep. I just want to sleep. I don't want to do anything. What happened? Tamoguna is now Pradhana, Sattva and Raja are Gauna. That is why a sleepy person doesn't understand where he is. And suddenly he says, yeah, you said something? There's somebody talking. But what he talked, I can understand only if my Sattva is awake. Sattva is in small quantity. Rajoguna is in small quantity. So there is no Sukham, Dukkham, only Mudhata, Tamoguna, Mohatmakata. That is how the interplay of Guna is happening. Because it is Guna Vritta Virodhacha, Sukham apparently gives a feeling that it is going to give you happiness, but it doesn't. Why? Because in Sukha, in that Sattva, in the Gauni form, the other gunas are there. Moment the Pradhana guna, Sattva guna is going to go down, they are going to dominate. So every Sukha then leads to Dukkham. So when I'm eating Srikhandam, Sattva guna is on a higher side, So I feel happy. Immediately, when that Sattva-guna becomes smaller, other two which were waiting in the corner, they now become bigger. And then what you say, I want to have one more, but I don't have the money. I wish I could have had money. What happened? Sekandam started giving dukkham. A lady looks at the face, a glowing skin and whatnot they do to the skin, and it looks beautiful. They always want to look beautiful and young forever. Suddenly, she looks at it and properly does the makeup and looks here, there, and she feels, oh, it's so nice. What happened? Sattva guna dominated. Before it could dominate and give happiness, suddenly she notices one white hair. What happened? The Rajoguna came up. Dukkham started. Some time back, some second back, she was feeling how beautiful I am. Suddenly she, oh, I'm getting old. Rajoguna dominated. That is called guna vritta virodhacha. So sattva gunatmaka buddhi has ashtarupata. Jnana, vairagya, aishwarya and dharma. These are 4 rupas of buddhi. Jnana is buddhi only. Rupa. Jnana is its rupa. Vairagya. Who is attempting to have vairagya? Buddhi only. Aishwarya, the prosperity that I feel, is in buddhi only. Feeling of contentment, Aishwarya, is also a rupa of buddhi. And dharma, righteousness. So jnana, vairagya, aishwarya, dharma. Ajnana, avairagya, anaishwarya, adharma. These are all ashtarupa of buddhi. Buddhi works in atarupa. When I am not understanding Upanishad at all, Yoga Sutra at all, I am in ajnana. I suddenly felt that, yes, I understood this sutra, jnanam. When I feel that, I should have this thing with me, I somehow wanted to have this thing in my possession, avairagya. The moment I think that, what is there? Why should I collect so many things? I don't need these things. It's better to remain simple. It is vairagya. Aishwarya, contented. I don't need anything. I'm happy. Aishwarya. No, I need a lot of things. Anaishwarya. Dharma. Sarve bhavina sukhan sukhi. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Na kaschit dukkham apnuyat. Dharma. Let everybody go to hell. What about me? At the end, I have to look after myself. Adharma. So there are 8 rupas of buddhi. And based on the rupa, it has 3 vrittis. Shanta vritti, ghora vritti, and mudha vritti. What is Shanta vritti? When you feel contented and you're feeling happy. It happens very rarely and for a very few moments, but it does come to us. That is the time we feel shant. I was feeling very happy and peaceful. Ghora, anxiety, constantly worked up and anxious. And mudha, not doing anything, absolutely dumbfounded, dull-witted, sleepy, sloppy, mood. These are 3 vrittis, sattva, rajatama, shanta, ghora, moodha, and ashtarupa, jnana, vairagya, aishwarya, dharma, ajnana, avairagya, anaishwarya, adharma. This interplay of ashtarupa and 3 vrittis is constantly going on. When it is in samanya rupa, it has a dominant or pradhan guna. One guna is pradhan, other 2 are gauna, but they are present. In atishaya or vishesha avastha, one gun becomes pradhan and the gauni gunas are almost negligible. That is how the sadhana progresses from inculcating sattva guna more and more and more, reducing rajoguna and tamoguna to less and less and less, that itself is yoga. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta आठ रूप वृत्ति शांत घोर मूढ़ वृत्तया पंचतया क्लिष्टा क्लिष्टा. We have already studied that, but in gist again it means the same thing. Shanta ghora mudha. In which state you are constantly tossing and anxious, you are in ghor. Sloppy, slothy, lazy, not doing anything. I will read Bhagavad Gita. I feel sleepy and all that. Mudha. And everything is fine. COVID or no COVID. Morning or evening. Summer or winter. In the home or outside. With the clothes or with little clothes. Contented. Shant. Peaceful. Everything is fine. There is nothing that you desire. There is nothing that you want to know. There is nothing you want to do. All you want to do is sit relaxed, breathe normally, have no thoughts, just be there. Let the cool air come. Let the air need not come. My sitting is pleasure. My quietness is pleasure. I am the pleasure. I am the peace. Shant, prashant. There is nothing in the mind. Not even desire for salvation. Not even desire for study. No desire for jnanam. No desire at all. What's happening in the mind? Nothing is happening in the mind, sir. What is there? It's blank. Is there any tossing of the thoughts in the mind? No, sir. There are no thoughts in the mind. There is nothing in the mind. Where are you? I am nowhere. All I know is I am. And there is a full stop after I am. There is nothing beyond that. Shanti. Shanta ghora mudha. And they are compartmental. So in Atishaya Avastha, you stick to one pradhana guna, and that practice to stick to one pradhana guna by deliberately sweeping away the other two gunas is the sadhana of yoga. For the mudhata to go away, muhyam, muhyati, moha to go away, you have to be always alert and full of energy. What brings me the tamoguna in me? 2 tons of food you are eating and you are feeling sleepy and then you want to study. No, the body requires very little food. Very little food. Stop all the fancies about the food. Just keep them to the bare minimum for the sustenance of the body. Let the machine be in a well-oiled position so that it doesn't pain or doesn't attract your attention. A healthy body is that body which is not felt by the owner. The mind should be completely calm, not involved in always planning for the future or brooding in the past. Once that avastha is there, once you have reduced your wants to minimum possible, you may have it in abundance in the house, but they are not meant for me. All I need is few pages of papers, 2 or 3 books. Swami Vivekananda went for Parivrajaka Vrata when he left his place and went for all India tour, spiritual tour. It's not a tour, it is Parivrajaka Vrata. He only carried 2 books with him, Bhagavad Gita and Bible. He was leaving. He knew he's leaving now the home. What did he have with him? Only 2 books. Gurudeva went there. How many bags he carried? Couple of clothes in a small bag. Enough. And what? Nothing is required. What was required by Tapovan Maharaj and Gurudeva for all those 4-5 years when they studied together? Nothing. Food, if it comes by begging alms, okay. Otherwise, no problem. What about the water? Ganga is flowing. When bare minimum existence of food and shelter is taken in this manner, there is nothing that is disturbing you. There is nothing that you want. And that is why you have jettisoned the Rajoguna in you. So when there is nothing that you want, how the Rajoguna will act? So Ghorata is gone. Because your body is in a good condition through pranayama and everything, Mudata is gone. What remains? Only Shantata or Sattvaguna. That is what is conducive for sadhana. Because we don't do it this manner, we just feel like doing that satsanga I am doing for 20, 40, 60 years, nothing happens to us. Why? Because the gunas are dominating the way they are dominating. What sadhana are we doing? My body can be only fit if I devote at least an hour of exercise for my physical body. We don't do that. And yet, I want to learn Bhagavad Gita. No, sir, even you are not able to tackle your tamoguna. You can't control your sleep. You can't control your body. You can't control your physical fitness. So tamogunas are not even properly tackled. What to talk of rajogunas, and then what to talk of sattvaguna? So guna vritta virodhacha, because this interplay of gunas is like this, and because it causes parinama dukkha, tapa dukkha, and samskara dukkha, the golden message is dukkham eva sarvam vivekinaha. For an intelligent person, viveki, everything is dukkhamaya. Now the question comes, whole thing is now focused on dukkham, dukkham, dukkham. So it is now clear that there is no sukham and dukkham, everything is dukkham. Sukham is more dukkham than the dukkham. Once it is established by now there will be analysis and postmortem of what dukkham is, from where it comes, why at all I should feel dukkhi, what is that incidence which creates dukkham inside. That has been threadbare analyzed in the further sutras, which we shall deal in the next classes. Om Purnamada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. I have a small doubt. Now, when you are mentioning about the Parinama Dukkha, it is happening because of your interaction with the n number of circumstances or the facility, whatever it is. To avoid that, you have to be away from such things, or I mean, in some cases, you cannot miss all those things. So now I can tell you my experience. Prosperity brings dukkha. But what you said is exactly correct. When I bought a new car, I was sleeping peacefully. But when I bought a new car, for first few days, I could not sleep because it was lying outside on the roadside and I was worried. Now I am not changing the car because I don't have to worry about anything. If somebody comes and hits, no problems, I get a peaceful mind. So that's exactly. But again, when you are interacting with the today's world, you have to come across with so many things, and we cannot avoid that. So in the office, if they invite for some meetings, you end up meeting so many people, so many things, and that disturbs.
Yes.
How to avoid that situation?
You're very right. The question is, there are certain essential or compulsory things that you need to do, and there are certain things which you need not to do. One is called vyapam, one is called upadvyapam. Now you are married and you have 2 children. So to deal with the children is vyapam. You can't avoid it. But WhatsApp is not vyapam, it is upadvyapam. Twitter is upadvyapam. Why? If you don't go on Instagram, what will happen? Nothing will happen, but still you want to go there. That is called upadvyapam. So all upadvyapam is to be thrown away, avoided altogether. Vyapam are to be dealt with. How do you deal with the vyapam? For example, your boss is a vyapam, part of vyapam. You can't avoid it. Fine. But what is happening is, I am playing with my gunas with my boss. That is resulting into dukkha or sukha or whatever. I have to keep in mind that during the part of living my life, I am doing a job for which, for certain number, a person called is my superior. Other than neither he is superior, I am inferior. We both have come together. Idam kashta, idam kashta. You are also wood, I am also wood. Sanyogascha viyogascha nadyam bhavato sangataha. In a river, we are going together like 2 logs coming together. Tatra ka parideva. If you get separated, should there be pain? He says. Similar. The wife is a companion. How long? For his life, for few years. Then you have to dealing with her. Actually, she's dealing with you. But ideally speaking, the yogi, if you want to deal with her, it should not create any matter in you, because guna is what is playing with the guna. So that is why every time rajoguna flares when we interact with wife, sattva guna flare. So that is why whenever we deal with certain things, do not repeat in vyapam. Upadvyapa completely avoid. In vyapam, don't repeat. For example, you are going with children for some Friday. Yes, children need it. Go with it. But you be a these days you find children are very sober. It is the adults who use those funky clothes, and the cap which is on the river side is trying to look young. You will have a goggle. What is happening? Bloody hell, you are 40, 50 years old. You have never studied a single shloka from Bhagavad Gita, and you feel you are trying to enjoy the life. And even the children are working in a much sober way than the father. He's jumping like a monkey everywhere. That is not how you deal with the things. In other words, you take the family out, go for a movie. They are watching a movie. You look at the screen and keep thinking about Bhagavan Sri Krishna. What stops you? No, nobody stops you. But no, we want to be a part of that. We want to exhibit all Rajagunas, Tamogunas into it. That is where the problem comes. So, for example, you have a car. Yes, you have a car. Now, what happened? Suddenly, the boss came. In my own life, my boss came and said, no, you start driving BMW. I said, okay. Then he said, no, BMW is not good. Take Mercedes. Okay, you give it to me. Not because Mercedes came to me. Tomorrow, if he says, take a Corolla, how will I feel? Corolla, I don't know. I was always in, no, Corolla is Corolla. Okay, fine. Then what about all the people in society will say that such a big CEO, he's going. Are you living for people or yourself? You have a mobile. People ask me, oh, why don't you take that model, this model? What is mobile? You listen and you talk. That much functioning my mobile is doing. No, it has got a new app, If you take that, you can play games. The life is being played as a game by your own karmas, and which game you want to play on that app. See, stupidity has got no limits. Einstein has very correctly said, infinity and stupidity both are without limits. About the first one, I'm sure. About the second one, I'm not still sure. That is what he said. So let's not be stupid. Let's be very clear. Avoid all upadvyapam. There is a speech that is coming up to be given by Prime Minister on Man Ki Baat. You have not understood your Man Ki Baat. Why you want to listen to somebody's Man Ki Baat? Then we have opinion about how to control Corona. In my opinion, they should actually start giving. Who is asking you? Who are you? Your own family members don't listen to you for taking vaccine. Why are you trying to give advice? This is called upadvyapam. This is wastage of time and energy. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Sanjay ji, I have a question. Hari Om, sir. I have a few questions actually. So I missed last week's class. So parinam dukkha is something which the senses want. Is that, am I understanding that? Tapa dukkham is when it's somebody else's loss and your gain. That is tapa dukkham. And sanskara dukkham is when you are repeating the same thing. So sanskara dukkham, you understand, you don't repeat it, so that can be avoided. Tapa dukkham is natural. I mean, if somebody has to win, someone has to lose. So is there an alternative for it to, or it's just there? That's first question. Sorry, go ahead. Second question is, in this verse, we also learned about the 8 aspects of buddhi and the good. So where are we heading to with this? So this I understood, but the aspects of gunas is that going to take us somewhere in future, in the next verses, as well as the 8 aspects of buddhi?
Yes. See, regarding tapa dukkham, you are very right. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Only on somebody's life depends. That is right. But in the cosmos, these rules are already laid down. For example, are you not cutting the grains and then making the food? That means the tree must be having some pain. Yes, to the extent of thinking, this is right. But ghoda ghas se dosti karega to khayega kya? So there are certain things left in this, but you should not be exceeding those limits. So first thing is hanikarak. Anything that creates violence and gives you pleasure is first to be avoided. Places, for example, you are buying the grains. So you're paying the money for it. That money in turn goes to the farmer. Then that farmer in turn looks after his. So there is something called mutual reciprocation. Whether it is a balanced mutual reciprocation or not, that remains a question. That is the reason why a yogi keeps his wants to the minimum, so that he does not become a cause of concern or pain for others. Paropakaraha punyaya papaya parapidinam is a very deep meaning thing. It appears very simple outside. Parapidinam means tap, and you are bound to give some tapam. For example, every woman keeps cooking for the husband. The husband is very sweetly sitting and eating it. So that means there is a tapam. You are giving trouble to your wife. Now the question is, you can't avoid because she cooks. So does that mean that she will keep cooking? You need to do something whereby you can undertake tapam so that she is relieved of some pressure, which unfortunately no one does, including the person who is talking. But this needs to be done. So that is why tapam you can reduce to the minimum. A complete absence of tapam is not possible. That is the reason why most of the monks went into the forest for having least tapam. In fact, the disciple of Kabir called Dharmadas, he was offering an yajna, and he was a non-violent person. And Kabir Maharaj was walking by that yajna, and he just uttered, in a very small tone, one sentence. He said, "Oh my God, he is killing so many animals." And then this Dharmadas started chasing Kabir Maharaj and said, "Maharaj, why did you say that?" He said, "Do you know that when you are putting oblations in the fire, so many insects were dying? So you are actually making a ceremony of killing the insects." Then he said, "Maharaj, what should I do? Should I not do the yajna?" Then Kabir Maharaj said, certain things which are inevitable. Giving Vivekananda's example, he said, when you open your mouth, you inhale a lot of insects and kill them, the bacteria or small things. So are you not killing things? Certain things in cosmos are part of the cosmic relationship. To that extent, it is possible or it is tolerated. But beyond that, it should not. So when we say tapam, for example, I ensure that my son only stands first in the class. By doing what? By somehow dissuading others that he should not compete. That means unfair means to achieve your sukham can lead to tapa dukkham. In a fair means, the tapa dukkham is list. That is the reason our prayer is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve, everybody. Everybody is, when it is possible, When when somebody works for other, then only it is possible. So tapa dukkham is in technical sense, minimum to the possible. It cannot be completely avoided on a theoretical level. But then cosmos has laid down certain rules. Somebody's food. In your own body, millions of bacteria are thriving in your intestine. So your intestine has become a place for them to live. So jivo jivasya jivanam. So similarly, you can also be a food giver as a CEO of a company or owner of a company. You're a food giver to so many people. So that is your role. So everybody is interdependently playing a role, but it should not so happen that you have gone crossed the boundaries and created the tapa. As far as these gunas, ashtarupa and three vrittis are concerned, we are slowly going towards it because we started from klesha. How klesha is responsible for karmashaya. Now in klesha, we have taken dukkham out of those 5 as the major thing. And our main aim is to destroy dukkham. Then there are 5 kleshas. Why only dukkham? Because if you take one and try to destroy it properly, from dukkham you will reach avidya. And avidya is the mother of all other kleshas. So naturally, dukkham will be gone, avidya will be gone, all the kleshas will be gone. So that is why we are trying to first of all see what dukkham is. But before seeing what dukkham is, we must take out from our mind that sukham is good. That's why so much of discussion. Now it is clear that sukham is also dukkham, dukkham is also dukkham. That means sarva vivekina sarvam eva dukkham eva. Everything is only sorrow. This is the first cardinal principle of Buddhism also, that the world is full of sorrow. Now comes the question, if it is full of sorrow and that is what is causing me pain, how do I remove it? That is the subject of next sutras. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji, Sanjay ji.
Ji.
I wanted a clarification now. I think you said there are 4 rupas of buddhi, and then you also, added agyanam, the opposites, 4 more. So is it 4 or 8? And 8. Okay. So how is I'm just trying to understand that how are the opposites? I can understand that. Is the discrimination between gyan and agyanam, buddhi, and therefore you bring the opposites in, or how does it work?
No, see, the thing is, rupam means in which shape or in which form the buddhi will be present. A buddhi can be either jnanapurna or the jnanam is absent, ajnanapurna. A buddhi vairagyapurna or avairagyapurna. So any given point of time, buddhi assumes a particular form of one type, 1 out of the 8. 1 out. And based on which form it has assumed, it will have corresponding vritti. So if it has assumed a jnana rupa, it will be shanta vritti. If it has assumed avairagya or aneshwarya, it could be ghora. If it is adharma buddhi, then it will assume mudhata. The person will be in terrorist act. He also has buddhi. Terrorist has a buddhi, but that buddhi is in adharma rupa and creating mudha vritti. A yogi is in jnana rupa and in shanta vritti. So that is how ashtarupa and trivrittis are described. Hari.
Hari Om ji. Just one other thing in terms of, see, this is the desired state, right? Which is there. Now, so we are looking at the aim, or this is what is meant to be, right? But the mere fact that most people take birth is because of their vasanas and sanskars, and we just saw the 8 types of buddhi also. So there are lots of people who who come in, and then there is this instruction.
Yes.
The whole process of moving, I'm just saying that if we're saying that one, Shanta Rupa, or that is the predominant, I understand that there is a process, but, when we say that, remain clear of, the whole design Vedanta is also to be guna atit, right?
Yeah.
Rise above the gunas. And so there is a, like a PhD exam, and then the rest of us come in at various stages in this world, right? At KG, at school level, and now one is, of course, how does one go through this? I think the whole process is, of course, the sadhana of trying to go up the ladder, right, from KG towards that, and it takes many lives. But just for the world to, I'm just trying to hypothetically understand, if the world was entirely, if everybody was at this state, right, would there be any so-called progress or movement? Or because you're restricting, right? So there's no more desire at all. I mean, that's the whole, we desire to be there at that state. Have there been times like this? If at all, is it the desirable state, or is the world meant to exist in these forms so that there is a difference? Because you cannot understand, let's say, sukh, or even the differences between joy and sorrow, etc. That doesn't exist, right? I don't know if I'm clear, but please try and help on this.
Yeah. But let us understand first one thing. Millions of births I have created, all sorts of vasanas and all that. The first question comes to mind is, when am I going to clear all this stuff? Because it is such a tedious process. When will I reach the sattva guna, the shanta, etc., then gunatita, etc. But remember one thing, you have a whole lot of fodder that is lying of your karmas, vasanas, everything. And what you are doing is you are adding to the fodder. It's a dry fodder, but you are adding to it. And that is called as downhill progress. When by God's grace you decide to think about it, then you do sadhana. That means you receive a matchbox in your hand. With the matchbox, you first try to create some fire so that the first small little twig of the fodder is burnt. But what happens is, when one twig of the fodder is burned, that one twig then leads to a big fire, and the entire fodder then gets burnt at a much faster rate. See, this is the beauty of sadhana. Howsoever big and mountainous your karmashaya may be, once you start setting fire to the godown, the entire sanchita burns much faster. Then it doesn't matter how many births you have had it. So that is the first thing, that you should not feel dejected. It is not that this birth I completed around 100, another millions are left. It's not like that. Creation of karmashaya is also equally fast, and destruction is also equally fast. All depends upon the fire that is called Jnanagni Sarva Karmanam Bhasmasat Kurute. Jnanagni, the fire of knowledge, burns everything. And that is why that first spark is important. Creating that first spark is entering into Samadhipada. To create the spark, you require to collect the matchbox first. Collecting the matchbox is Chitta Shuddhi. And striking the matchbox and lighting the fire is called Upasana or Dhyanam. And once dhanam is there, then different stages of samadhi is different stages of fire. The first fire will engulf a twig, that is sampradnyat samadhi at a lowest level. Then a big bunch of fodder. Then a big hall full of fodder. And then when it comes to dharma megha samadhi, the entire fodder is lost. And then what? When the fodder is lost, the matchbox is also lost. The matchbox striker is also lost. That means everything is lost. That is first part. Second part is, the world is not always like this. Every single jiva in this world is ultimately trying the same salvation that you and me are thinking. And their ultimate destination is to become free and mukta and mumukshu. That is the rule of the world. Only thing is, how much time and when, that depends upon its own karmas. So that is why the world was created by the Lord as his play. The players did not play the play properly, So they were punished. Now they are asking why we are punished, how long we will be punished. You will never be punished provided you played as the Lord wanted it. So it is, in other words, an attempt to correct the wrong game that you are playing, so that you come out of the wrong game. Coming out of the wrong game is to become jnani. And then what the jnani does, once he crosses all the three gunas is playing when you play the game in wrong way, three gunas are developed. When you played rightfully, three gunas are taken away. So you become three guna atita. And then you do what? Because now you have stopped playing wrong game. Now you play the right game. The right game is called Rasa Leela. Right game is called Rasa Leela. Then you are in Bhagwan's world, either in the world at his wish, or in the Nirakara Nirgun at his wish. And it is no more his wish, it is your wish, because you and he are one. That is the logical progression. That is called Jnanottara Bhakti. Jnana Uttar, after attaining the knowledge, after becoming Trigunatita, you have a special bondage with the Lord. And then you remain in Lord's universe the way Lord wants you to remain. That is the time when everything that is in the world is the same caliber, same category. All that world, every jiva, every entity of that particular world, of that world is called Goloka. In that Goloka, every entity is nothing else but Radha. And that entity itself is nothing else but reflection of Krishna. So Radha and Krishna are not two, but they appear two for the sake of the rasa created by the Krishna. So the game goes on, but it is played in the perfect harmonious manner. Right now we are playing the game in the worst possible manner. That is because of the three gunas. That is because of which all this study we are doing. Once this is done, including the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, you can simply give it back to Ganga Mata. It is no more required, because Patanjali Yoga Sutra is a ladder required to go to the upper floor. After reaching upper floor, don't carry it on your head. Even the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, everything are to be thrown away, because now they are no more needed. But that is in that loka. Hari.
One last one on the practical side, like you explained very well that there are duties to be followed and there are things, to be minimized. But, let's say, for example, I mean, I constantly face this in my family. You become very boring, You want to sleep at 10 when everyone wants to go out. You don't want to go out. You have a time to get up. And now I might think that that's the right thing because this is important to me.
Yes.
But obviously, like you say, if you go out, it's difficult then, right? If it's past 10 o'clock, then it's difficult to get up in the morning. So, there's always this constant thing of, how much to compromise and just to keep a balance in the family, so to speak, because everyone may not be at that, may not have the same desires to.
Okay, I will give you an answer through Ramakrishna Paramahansa. You're talking about your family, which is absolutely in good senses, good health, and they are expecting certain things out of you, which may not be very conducive for the sadhana or conducive for the right thing in life. Sleeping at a right time, getting up at early Brahma Muhurtam is the right thing in life, which everybody is not following because the values have gone down a lot and the norms of the society have become completely skewed. And society, including family, expects you to follow it. Should I follow it just for the sake of making them happy, or shouldn't I follow it is the question. The answer is, Ramakrishna Paramahansa had a shishya called Mahendranath Gupta. He has written the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. His name is to be M, by capital M, which was actually Mahendranath Gupta. His wife was having some psychological issues. She was a psychiatric case. She was suffering from depression. And Mr. M, whenever he used to study, she used to come and trouble him a lot because she was not in her senses. And that used to really disturb him so much that she was constantly fighting. She was shouting at him. She would sometimes snatch away the book that he was reading. So he went to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and asked a question. Maharaj, this is what is happening. How can I do my sadhana? Now hold your breath. The answer given by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is very simple. Let her die. You carry on. Now you get your answer. If something is done for the sake of God, even if God himself comes in front of you and try to desist you, don't listen to him. Because atyuchya dheya, only one condition, the effort has to be extremely sincere. If the sincere effort is there, how many friends of yours told you that, how does it matter? A little bit of drink is okay. And what do you say? I shall not. Is it not that you're displeasing them? But displeasing them is important because you have some values with you. You have decided once upon a time, yes, I was a member and friend to you. Now no more myself. Because unless you have nishchayatmaka vritti, which is called buddhi. What is the function of buddhi? Nishchaya. If you don't have nishchaya, there is nothing you can achieve in your life, not even in your regular life. And in spiritual discipline, nothing can be achieved if you don't have determination. And how do you get the determination on spiritual level? Start from vyavahara first. I shall not eat this. I will have only sattvic ahar, nishchaya. I will get a brahma muhurta, nishchaya. I shall do ekadashi, shall not eat anything, nishchaya. I am not bothered if my clothes are fine, whether somebody likes it or dislikes it, nishchaya. In these small day-to-day activities, you built up your determination. Because now we are going to study yama niyama. What are yama niyamas? Very high ecclesiastical values that we are going to study. Even if you don't have ordinary values of yama niyama in your life, what is the point in calling yourself a spiritual person? Then it is better to flow with all these mudhas who are interested in party doing and party making, depending on friends for pleasure. It's a hopeless dependence. Why do you depend on your friends for pleasure? Why do you depend upon your family members for your pleasure? You should depend on your pleasure simply by the Shastras and the saintly people. They are called Apta. Apta means one who always wishes your welfare. And our only one Apta is Gurudeva. We have no relationship. Our only relationship is our father is Gurudeva, grandfather is Tapovan Maharaj. Be very clear in the mind. Vivekananda is the closest brother you can get. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is the closest father, grandfather you can get. Sharada Mata is the only mother that you can get. Shankaracharya is the only pardada that you can have. We have to very clearly define all these goals. Then the answer becomes very easy. There are no soft ways in Adhyatma. It doesn't mean that you have to become very kathor and you have to be very violent by words towards anybody. No, but you have to be firm under the garb of a soft approach. Hari Om.